If you find the right motivated landlord, you can definitely get into a lease with an option to purchase this way. So this is a beautiful opportunity for you to go ahead and get some cash flow in real estate under your belt as far as controlling it with very little money at all out of your pocket. Now, let's say the seller's like, "Whoa, I don't want to do that." Hey, what's up, bootstrappers? This is Ryan Nickel coming at you with a non-bootstrap shirt on. Check that out. I just got back from Florida, and so I'm wearing my O'Neill shirt. I didn't do any surfing, but still went there. Anyway, so I wanted to share an idea with you on lease options. This is how I got into lease options back in 2014, 2015, and eventually those lease options converted into seller finance transactions. Because when you do what you say you're going to do in a lease option, then why not just go ahead and go the whole distance and get the seller to finance it for you? But first, I want to share with you 5 steps you can go ahead and you can do to get this done. So step number 1 is to go ahead and call on your for rent by owners. You can look them up on Craigslist, you can drive around town, you can see them, but they have to be by owners. So you call your for rent by owners up and you say, "Hey, I'm interested in renting a property or leasing the property for 5 years. Are you open to long-term leases?" So you want to see if they are or not. Some of them are, some of them aren't. The reasons why they're not is because, hey, you could be a sucky tenant and they don't want to have you there for that long, or they just want to sell the property. So some of them are like, "Yeah, it's 5 years, yes, no problem," And so just say, "Hey, I got good references. I can provide you any references that you need because I know you don't know me, but I'm looking for a long-term lease, like 5 years." And then also say, step number 2, I am willing to cover every single month, all the maintenance on the property up to $100 a month. Are you okay with that? And see what they say. So long-term lease, up to $100 a month in maintenance. Now, if I'm willing to do that, would you be willing to take $100 off a month on the lease? Seems reasonable, right? Sometimes they will, sometimes they won't. Maybe they'll only take off 50 bucks, because the likelihood of you actually needing maintenance on the property every single month, it may not be there. So that's the third one: is will they take some of that off monthly? Okay, so number 4 is that as long as you're in the property for the 5 years and handling all of the maintenance, that you don't want the payment to go up. You want the payment to remain the same for those 4 years. So to recap, long-term lease, you're going to cover the maintenance. They're going to reduce the monthly payment by a little bit, if not the entire maintenance amount that you are suggesting. And then they're going to keep that lease payment the same for 4 years. And then number 5, you're going to say, "And I also would like the option to purchase this property at today's appraised value anytime within the 5-year window." Now, you're going to have them agreeing to 1, no problem, they want to have a long-term tenant. 2, someone's going to cover the maintenance. 3, they may give you a little bit of a discount on the rate. 4, they probably would be interested in maintaining a good relationship, not to raise the rent. This is very common with mom and pop landlords. They don't raise rent on good tenants. And then 5, that's where you're going to get a little bit of issue. They may not be willing to want to sell their house. So you're going to have to work with them on that. If you find the right motivated landlord, you can definitely get into a lease with an option to purchase this way. And the beautiful thing about it is you don't have to live in the property. You can sublet it out, because now you have a below market rent, and you make the tenants moving in there cover all of the maintenance and all of these issues, and you make the spread on that particular property. So this is a beautiful opportunity for you to go ahead and get some cash flow in real estate under your belt as far as controlling it with very little money at all out of your pocket. Now, let's say the seller's like, "Whoa, I don't want to do that. I'm not going to sell my house at today's price," especially if you're in a hot markets like we are today. That's understandable, right? So what about 50%? Hey, you know what? How about we split the equity? Fine, okay. I'll take today's price, and then whenever I decide to exercise my option in the next 5 years, whatever today's price is to where it's at, we will split the difference. So let's say if it went up $25,000. I'll pay you $12,500, or you get $12,500 more in equity in that situation. Or if it went up $200,000, you'll get $100,000 without all the headaches and the hassle of having to manage a property that I've been taking care of for you. So that's the whole idea there. So let's say they don't want to do that. They're like, "Nope, not going to do that." Then what you need to do is you need to settle on what their current equity situation is and say, "Fine, you know what? I will pay you a return on your equity." I mean, it's another way you can do it. So you can either go for today's price and that's it, all or nothing. Or you can say, okay, today's price plus wherever it's at in the future, and we'll split the difference. Sorry, Chris Voss. We'll go ahead and split the difference. Or that's or you can say whatever, let's establish what your equity position is today, and then what we can do is I will pay you a return on that equity. I'll pay you 10%, 15%, or 20%, or 5%, whatever it is. Let's say they have, let's say the house is worth, California prices here, let's say the house is worth $500,000 today, but they only have $200,000 in equity. So you're going to pay a return on that equity. So let's say I'll pay you, 10% on your equity. So I'll give you $220,000 basically. That's 10% on their equity. Or if the market's like really crazy appreciated, I'll give you 20%. So you'll get, $240,000 in equity. And I'm still taking the appreciation with the property as it goes up too, as well. So it's a really creative way for you to get in there and to start finding some of these properties. So I did this multiple times when I first got started. I'm not into calling on landlords. That's just not what I do these days. But if I were to start over from scratch and I needed to get some quick, fast money, I would be calling every for rent by owner out there. I would be looking for individuals who have some kind of pain that they're paying monthly. So the pain is that they're paying monthly on an asset that's not performing for them. And that's a real issue, especially if it needs some kind of maintenance or something like that, or there's, it's in a non-desirable neighborhood. If you can make it more attractive to someone where they're going to be able to have the option to purchase it rather than just being a renter, they would overlook the neighborhood and see themselves as owners rather than renters. And so it's a great strategy. Like I said, I've been able to do this in low-end markets and high-end markets. The biggest one I did was in a country club area up in Chico, and exactly how I approached the landlord. He was a landlord who lived out of, not just out of the state, but out of the country, and it had been sitting vacant for 7 months and cost him $14,000. So it was $2,000 a month holding costs, and that was hurting him really bad. Not hurting him to the point where he was just like, going to file bankruptcy or anything like that, but it's $14,000 that he wasn't able to recoup during that entire time. So there are situations, even in hot markets, where you're going to have landlords for one reason or another that are going to be willing to do this particular strategy with you. Like I said, if I were starting off over scratch, I would be looking for all of the for rent signs that are handwritten by owners as I'm driving neighborhoods, or I'd be on Craigslist looking for rent by owner, and it's not by a management company, and I would be calling them up in this exact same strategy that I would be doing. I did it then. Like I said, I haven't been doing it now because I just go after, I have so many deals that are coming at me because of referrals, or I'm going after probate or tax delinquent or other situations where I'm having greater success. However, if I'm to think about this, here's another thing that I would do if I were to do this again. I would go down to my local municipality court, superior court, wherever it's at, and I would sit in on the eviction process. And I would sit there and I would be waiting for, not property management companies, but mom and pop landlords, tired landlords who are just now being able to evict tenants that took advantage of them during the COVID crisis. And I bet you'd be able to pick up quite a few if you did that, because you're going to be right there in the moment with them as they're experiencing the joy of finally getting their property back. And who knows what kind of situation it's going to be in, because just because they won in court doesn't mean they have the property just yet. They still have to be, the lockout has to happen with the sheriff, and they may be willing to either sell or work with you on that type of a situation. So anyway, I'm Ryan Nickel. This is Bootstrap REI. We find the most creative ways to find property on a shoestring budget, and all it takes is one deal to change your entire financial future. So get out there and do it. If you have any questions, go ahead and put the comments down there below. Be sure to answer them for you. In the meantime, take care.